Hi, I'm Jose Hernandez here at CSM Fitness USA, and I wanted to talk a little bit about tariffs and how it's going to actually affect the fitness industry and the equipment you buy on a day-to-day basis. I got a couple of notes that I want to go through, and yeah, let's get into it. So I do have a couple of notes here that I want to go through. I don't want to be too serious about it. I don't want to be like doom and gloom about the fitness industry, the fitness equipment industry, but there's some obvious consequences to the tariffs that are happening right now. For example, most of the manufacturers you see in gyms right now are, overseas brands, whether they're Chinese or they're Taiwanese or have some sort of componentry from those countries. That's where they come from. So for the most part, there is going to be a lot of price increases. I spoke to some manufacturers yesterday, and for right now, what's going to happen is there's a lot of inventory that they have on hand, and they're going to try to offset that equipment. I mean, the new incoming equipment with their old inventory. So basically, they'll take the equipment that's coming in, they'll add it up, do some math equation with what they have in stock, and then they'll kind of like run it back out there at that increase price. It would help kind of reduce the overall impact of the tariffs right away. But they said, eventually 4, 5, 6 months down the road, when they start running out of the inventory they actually have on hand, is when we're actually going to start seeing some of those big increases. So what I'm hoping is that between now and 90 days, this is all worked out. And yeah, maybe there's a blip in the supply chain, and there is some increases, but it's not going to kill anybody. It's just, kind of, a cost of doing business. Let's just call it. Now, if for whatever reason it does continue, what's going to happen is equipment that's coming in, 4, 5, 6 months down the road, or orders that were placed today that are being received today. I mean, orders that were ordered, say 2 or 3 months ago to be produced, that are being received in the ports today, there is going to be increases on that stuff. So, hopefully it doesn't last long, and they'll work up some sort of because really what they're going to call it is a surcharge, because the cost of manufacturing it isn't changing. It's just the cost of imports and tariffs. So there's a kind of a difference. So what they're going to do is they're going to actually just add a surcharge, that's what they're going to call it, to the product as it comes in. So I'm expecting 18, 20, 25, even 30% surcharges for the next few months, to be honest with you. So yeah, we're bracing ourselves to that as a small business. So yeah, it does affect small businesses like mine, but it's not just me. It's the whole industry as a whole. Depends so much on imports that it could really affect our business. Needless to say, everybody's pretty concerned. Now, U.S. made products, fitness equipment products, are not usually made 100% here in the US. So that's a misconception people have. I think that the best way to explain it is that it's assembled here and some of it is manufactured here, but a lot of the componentry actually comes from different places. So they are seeing increases. Now, the American manufacturers have been increasing their price over the last 2 years, to be honest with you. They've been going up 5, 6, 7, 8% at a time. There are some increases that they're actually putting in May 1st, from what I understand from a couple of different vendors that I've talked to and manufacturers, and even on an American made product, it's going to go up 10%. So the customer is going to feel it right now. Like, increases in pricing are coming. So just keep that in mind as you're shopping, that it's not so much the manufacturer, but it could be the fees and everything associated with getting you the product to your place. So that's kind of my thoughts on pricing. Let me see. Let's move on to something else. So now I got some notes here. I didn't want to make this video too long. So what does that mean for me right now? Like, if you're a customer and you're looking for a product right now, what does that mean for me? Now, obviously, you're going to pay a little bit more for this product because you're going to be paying a little bit more for everything that we import. That's from electronics, that's from the camera that I'm using, to the computer that I'm looking at, to the cell phone that I have. Everything's going to go up. So what I would do is probably, if you need something now, like if you need to replace or upgrade, or maybe not just upgrade, you just need to replace because it's broken, then I would probably start looking into some alternate brands. Like, maybe it's not the time to be like a brand snob. Just say, hey, I just want a quality product, And that's, as long as it works and it's not, you know, obsolete or ugly, then I think it has a place, and maybe you should start looking into those options, because that is a way to save money. There are brands out there that have been around for 20, 30 years that do sell commercial product that no one ever puts in their gym. So maybe it's a good opportunity to try some of those things and kind of experiment with different brands, and maybe not so much buy from the big ones, you know, stay away from the big three or the big four is what I like to call them. Another thing you could do is actually go into the used market. And I say the used market, I'm gonna say the used market as far as cardio products, only because there's still a lot of value in used cardio, if you ask me. It's not overpriced like used strength has been over the last few years. So maybe, you know, start looking into some used products, as long as they're pretty contemporary, or if they're just going to do the job and they have a warranty. I think that that would be a big selling point for me if I were in the, you know, if I had to buy something. Like right now I'm dealing with a customer, has about 70 locations, and he needs treadmills. He doesn't want to overpay for them. He was like, look, I'll do some used, and we're obviously happy to accommodate whatever the customer wants. So that's what we're getting done for him. So that's actually another option. And I think that if you're looking to buy because you have to buy, then I think those are the two good options that I would suggest anyone to kind of go with. And then after that, realistically, I would just try to maintain my equipment. I know that sounds like super basic, but it's like changing the oil in your car. If you change the oil in your car, chances are it'll run you to 200, 300,000 miles. But if you don't, then chances are it's going to break down at any given time. So I would probably, you know, make sure that anything that I have that's in my gym, you know, it's well maintained at this point, because it is going to be cheaper to maintain it, even for the short term, as long as you're not throwing a bunch of money at it, than it is for you to replace it at this point. So, you know, these are just some tips. I just kind of wanted to touch on this today while it's still hot, and I'm just, everywhere I go, it's like, that's what I'm being bombarded with. So I wanted to kind of put a video out there and see what people thought. Yeah, so if you guys have any thoughts on this, you know, please, you know, subscribe or comment. I'd love to help. And, you know, catch you on the next one. Have a good one.